You wouldn't believe what happened when a proud king, who only pretended to pray the Rosary, stood before the judgment seat of Christ. Surrounded by demons ready to drag him into hell, he thought it was too late. But then, something miraculous happened that changed his eternity. Long ago, in the ancient kingdom of Galicia, King Alfonso reigned in grandeur. His throne glittered with gold, his robes shimmered like sunlight on the sea, and his name inspired both reverence and fear. But his people, humble, faithful Catholics, held one devotion above all: the Holy Rosary of the Blessed Virgin Mary. So, to win their admiration, the king adorned himself with a magnificent rosary, its beads carved of pure ivory, its crucifix studded with jewels. He wore it daily, wrapped around his belt, for all to see. When he appeared in public, crowds would murmur in awe, "Behold our devout king, a man of Mary." And so the nobles followed his example. Ministers, guards, and commoners alike began carrying rosaries at their sides, convinced that they too were imitating their godly monarch. But inside the palace, behind closed doors, the truth was far darker. Alfonso's nights were filled not with prayer, but with feasts and pleasure. He spoke the name of God only in jest. The rosary that once shone on his belt became no more than a royal ornament, a prop for pride. He had fooled his people, but not heaven. One winter evening, while the court still danced, the king collapsed. Fever overtook him. For days he lay in bed, eyes clouded, heart heavy. No doctor could explain his sudden sickness. At last, one night, his breath slowed, and the room grew still. King Alfonso felt himself torn from his body. Darkness surrounded him. When he opened his eyes, he found himself standing before a great throne of light. On one side stood radiant angels, silent in sorrow. On the other, a host of demons, snarling, holding scrolls filled with his sins. They hissed, "Adulterer! Hypocrite! Idolater!" He wore the rosary but never prayed it. His piety was a lie. They threw his crimes upon the scale of justice. Each sin struck heavy like iron. The king trembled as the divine judge, Christ himself, looked upon him with piercing eyes. The verdict was clear. He was guilty. The demons surged forward to seize him. But then, a light unlike any other filled the court of eternity. From that heavenly light stepped the Blessed Virgin Mary, clothed in blue and white, crowned with 12 stars. Her voice was gentle yet powerful as she spoke to her son. "My son, wait. Let your mother examine this soul a little longer." The Lord nodded and the room grew silent. Mary gestured, and angels came forth carrying a rosary, the same one the king had worn around his waist. Then she commanded, "Place his sins on one scale, and this rosary, along with all the prayers it inspired in others, on the other." The angels obeyed. The scale tipped slowly, and then, miraculously, the rosary outweighed the sins. Mary smiled tenderly. "My son, for the small honor he showed me, I ask for mercy. Let him live again, and use his years to repent." Christ gazed upon his mother with infinite love. So be it. And with that, the court of heaven faded into light. With a gasp, King Alfonso opened his eyes. The fever was gone. His heart raced, not with fear, but with awe. He fell to his knees, clutching the very rosary that had saved his soul. Tears streamed down his face as he whispered, "Blessed be the rosary of the Virgin Mary. Through it, I was spared the fires of hell." From that day on, the proud king became a humble servant of Mary. He prayed the rosary daily, this time not for show, but for love. He founded churches, taught his people to pray sincerely, and spread devotion to the Holy Rosary throughout his realm. The kingdom that once praised its king for vanity now followed him in genuine faith. This story, told by St. Louis de Montfort in The Secret of the Rosary, reminds us that even imperfect devotion, when directed toward the Mother of God, can open the door to grace. If a king who only pretended to honor her was saved from eternal loss, how much more will she do for those who love her sincerely? Every bead we touch, every Hail Mary whispered in faith, echoes through eternity. Mary never forgets those who honor her Son through her rosary. Whosoever shall persevere in the recitation of my rosary shall receive signal graces. Our Lady's 15 promises. Let this story be a reminder. A rosary worn in vanity saved a soul from hell. A rosary prayed in love can save the world.